Hello everyone, welcome back to our Python tutorial series. In the last video we talked about variables and data types. Today we're moving one step further into something very powerful in programming, which are operators. What are operators? Simply put, operators are special symbols in Python that allows us to perform operations on values and variables. Just think of these operators as toolbox in your everyday life. If you've ever used a calculator, then you've already used operators without actually knowing it. In Python, operators helps us perform operations on values and variables. Let's break them down step by step. Now, we have different types of operators in Python. The first one we're going to go into is the arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are just like the ones on your calculator. Okay, they perform basic mathematics. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and a lot more. So let's see how we can use these arithmetic operators. All right, so going back into our Visual Studio Code. So today I'm going to introduce you to our interactive shell in Python, where we can actually use to run Python codes straight from the shell. Okay, so unlike the way we've been doing in the previous video, where we have to create a file, we create the file and we write the codes inside the file. In this case, Python has an interactive shell where it allows us to run our Python codes instantly, okay, without actually creating any file. All right, so we're going to talk more about this shell as we progress or as we advance in the series. For us to use this shell, we're actually going to our terminal here. So let me just drag this up to have a bigger screen. All right, so here is our terminal. So the first thing you need to do to go into your Python shell or interactive shell is Python. Just type Python and it's going to take you into your interactive shell. So as you can see, we have this 3 greater than signs here. This shows that you are in your interactive shell and the shell is always expecting a command. Okay, it's always ready to take a command. So now let's start with the basic addition, right? So if I say 2 plus 3, and as you can see, we have 5, right? 2 plus 7, we're going to have 9. So in this interactive shell, you don't need to write anything inside a file and then you run Python, the file name to run it. No, in this case, you can just run it instantly. The moment you press enter, it automatically runs whatever command you typed in there. Okay, so this is addition. So I can even print on the interactive shell as well. 2 plus 5. As you can see, I have 7 here. So this is just simple addition. If I say 2 minus 5, this is minus 3. 5 minus 2, this is 3, right? So this is subtraction. So we can say 2 asterisk 5. This means multiplication. You are multiplying 2 with 5, which is equals to 10, right? So now let's see division. I can say 10 divided by 2. So this will always return a float value for us here. 10 divided by 2, as you can see, is giving us 5.0, which is a float value. So now if I want, I can actually typecast it to just get the integer part, okay, which is 5. So to do that, I can just say int, that's the data type in which I want to typecast it to, then 10 divided by 2. So as you can see, I'm just getting the 5 here. So it's no more returning a float value. So there is also what we call a floor division. Okay, so if I say 10 divided by 2, as you can see, we have 5.0, right? So if I use floor division in this case, what this is going to do is it will just return the number before the decimal. Okay, so what this means is just that how many times will 2 go into 10? Okay, so 10 divided by 2, if I should use the floor division, which is 2 forward slashes divided by 2, as you can see, I'm getting 5. So this floor division, what it does is it just returns the whole number, okay, disregarding the points there, the point whatever that's coming after. Okay, let's see another example of floor division. If I should say 5 floor division 2, so what do you expect the answer here is going to be? It means how many times will 2 go into 5? We know that it's going to be 2, right? So let's see. So as you can see, we have 2 here. Okay, it does not return any remainder, any point. It's just the actual number of times that this particular value divides this particular value here. Okay, so now we already said 5 divided by floor division of 2 is actually 2. We know that there is a remainder of 1. So in Python, there's an arithmetic operator that actually just shows us the remainder of any division. So if I should say 5 modulos, which is a percentage sign, modulo 2, if I press enter, as you can see, it's what? It's showing me 1. This means that if you divide 5 by 2, what will be the remainder? We're going to have a remainder of 1. So that's what the modulus operator does here. Okay, so now one thing we need to talk about is exponential, right? So if I want to raise a number to a certain number, how do I do that? What I need to do here is I will say 2. For instance, I want to raise 2 to the power of 2. So you use double asterisk here in this case and you press enter. So as you can see, we have 4 here. This means 2 raised to power 2. If I should say 2 raised to power 3 is 8. 2 raised to power 4 is 16. So this is simply arithmetic operators in Python. Okay, so like I said, this is just one of the operators that we have in Python. So the next operator we are going to see is the comparison operator. What are these comparison operators? These comparison operators are actually used to compare two values. The result is always Boolean, which is true or false, okay, when you're using the comparison operator. So what we're going to do here is let's see how to use this comparison operator. So first, let me create two variables. A is equals to 2. You can actually create variables too on this interactive shell. B, let's say, equals 10. Press enter. So the moment I say A, I press enter, it's going to show me the value I have in A. And if I say B, it's also going to display the value that I have stored in B. Okay, so let's say I want to compare A and B. I want to check if A is actually equals to B. That's the first case I want to check here. So if I should say A equals B here, what this actually does here is these two equality sign here you are seeing means equal to, unlike what we've been doing here with just a single equality sign. When you use this, it means you are using the assignment operator. You are assigning a value to this particular variable here. Okay, just like if I say A equals 4, so it means I'm assigning the value 4 to this variable. But in comparison operator, it's not like that. You have to use double equality sign here. So this tells Python that yes, you are actually checking if these values are equal or not. So if I should press enter, as you can see, it displays a Boolean, which is false. Comparison operators always returns a Boolean. It's either a true or false, since you are comparing something. So it can only be true or false. So this means that A is not equals to B, right? Is A equals to B, we are checking. The value of A is actually 2, the value of B is 10 here. So definitely A is not equals to B, right? So how can I check if A is greater than B? So I can say A greater than B. So I'm still checking, is the value stored in A greater than the one in B? 2 is actually not greater than 10. So this is definitely going to be a false. So as you can see, this is a false. So what if I say A is less than B? This is true, yes, because A is 2 and B is 10, right? Definitely A is less than B, right? So what if I want to check if the value of A is actually greater than or equals to 2, for instance? I can do that, right? I can say A greater than or equals to 2. So this means that it's going to check the value of A, which I know is 2 here, right? We've already assigned that value. This is going to be true because the value of A is not, it is not greater than 2, but it is actually equals to 2, right? So it's going to return a true here. So if I say A is less than, or let's use B, B is less than or equals to 10. I know that B is not less than 10. B is actually 10, right? It's not less than 10, it is actually 10. But this equality sign is going to what? Validate this, and it's going to return a false because B is equals to 10 here, right? So if I should press enter, as you can see, it is true because B is less than or equals to 10. It is not less than 10, but it is exactly equals to 10. That's why we're having these true values here. Okay, so these are just what the comparison operators are. So another thing we need to check in comparison operator is the not equal to, right? So if I should say A is not equals to B, so this I'm checking A is not equals to B, and yes, A is not equals to B. A is 2 and B is 10. So what am I expecting this to return? It should return a true, right? As you can see, it is a true because A is not equals to B. So if you're trying to check for two values, that one is not equals to the other, you want to check if one is equals to the other or not, you can simply use the not equal to. This is just an exclamation mark before the equality sign. Okay, so these are just what the comparison operators are. Okay, just think of this as a password check. For instance, if the password you enter is equal to the correct one, you get access, right? Otherwise, it's false. It's not going to give you access. Okay, so this is just comparison operators. Okay, so the next operator we're going to talk about is the logical operator. So logical operators are actually used to combine two or more conditions. Okay, so let's see how to use these logical operators. For instance, now let me set another variable. Let's say I have x equals to 7, right? X is equals to 7. So now I want to check if x is greater than 5, right? If I press enter, I know it's definitely going to be true because 7 is actually greater than 5. So what if I want to check if x is greater than 5 and also x is less than 10, right? So here I'm trying to check x is greater than 5. So is x greater than 5? It is greater than 5. Is that same x less than 10? So in this case, as you can see, I'm combining two conditions. I'm checking for two conditions here. So in this case, we can use AND here. So if you say x greater than 5 and x is less than 10. So if I press enter now, as you can see, I have true here. So this is because x is greater than 5, which is actually true. X is 7, and x is less than 10, which is also true. So both conditions here are true. So for you to have true whenever you are combining two conditions, both conditions must be true. Okay, so this is the truth table for AND logical operator. Okay, so as you can see, based on this table here, the value will always be true only if both conditions are true. So here, if you see, we have x is greater than 5. Yes, x is definitely greater than 5. And what? X is less than 10. X is definitely less than 10. That's why we are having true, because both conditions are true. So what if I say x is greater than 5 and x is less than 11? Or let's say x is greater than, let's say, 10. So x is greater than 5. Definitely, yes. X is greater than 5 because it is 7. So this condition is true. This particular part is true. And x is greater than 10. So x is 7. So x is not greater than 10. So what should we expect here? It's going to be a false. Why is it false? Because one of the conditions is false. So this is only going to be true when both conditions are true. If any of the condition is not true, then AND is going to display what? A false. Okay, so that's just it. So what of the OR operator? How do we use the OR operator here? So in OR operator, assuming I have x is greater than 5 or x is less than 5. So for OR operator, as far as any of the conditions is true, is going to return a true as well. So just look at the truth table here for this OR operator. So as you can see, if any of the condition is true, it is going to return a true here. So here, when you look at this, you have x is greater than 5, which is true. X is 7, or x is less than 5. X is less than 5. No, x is not less than 5. X is greater than 5. But what? I'm expecting this to still display a true because this particular condition here is true. Even though this is false, the first one is true. So it's going to return a true. So that's OR operator. Okay, so whenever a condition or any of the condition is true, the OR operator is going to return a true as well. Unlike the AND operator. In AND operator, only when both conditions are true, then it's going to return a true. Okay, so we can just have a look at the truth table. It will help you in understanding these operators better. Okay, so the last one we're going to talk about among these logical operators is the NOT operator. Now I have x is greater than 5, right? X is greater than 5. This is true, right? So what if I say not x greater than 5? This is going to be false. What this actually does is this. It's kind of reverses, or shall I say it negates whatever it is that is supposed to be displayed. So here x is greater than 5. Yes, x is greater than 5. So here is supposed to return what? A true, right? As you can see, it is true. But when you use this not, it means that whatever the value is, it should change it, or it should reverse it, or it should negate it. Okay, so if now I say x is less than 5. X is not less than 5, so this is false, right? So if I say not x less than 5, so what do you expect this to return? So here with this not, I'm expecting it to display what? A true. Oops, it's supposed to be a small letter x. Yeah, so as you can see, we're having a true here, right? We're having a true here. So this means that whatever this value here is, just change it or negate it to the opposite Boolean value. It was initially false, right? X is less than 5 was false, but when you use this not, it changes it to what? To true. This logical operator is just like, let's say, imagine you're booking a flight ticket online, for instance, and to qualify for a student discount, the rules are you must be a student and also you must be under 25 years old. Okay, so this is an example of and. So you must be a student and you must be under 25 years. So only when both conditions are true that what you're going to get the discount, right? So also, let's say to qualify for a family discount, right? The rules are you must be traveling with children or you must be married. So one condition must be true. It's either you are traveling with children or you are married. If none of them is true, then you're not going to get that family discount. So this is an example of or operator. So one condition must be true. It's either you're going with children or you're married. Okay, so now to get a special offer, the rules are you must not already be a premium member. So that's just not in that case. So you must not be a premium member to enjoy special offer. So as far as you are a premium member, then you're not going to get it. Okay, so that's just not. So I hope this gives you more clue or more understanding of these different logical operators. Now that we've seen how Python operators help us perform calculations and make comparisons, operators on their own are powerful, but in real life problems, we don't compare values, right? We also want to make decisions based on those comparisons. So for example, after comparing two numbers, how do we tell Python to choose one path if the condition is true and the other path if it's false? So that's exactly where conditional statements come in. In our next video, we'll explore how Python lets us add decision making into our programs using if, elif, and else. Trust me, this is where your code really starts to think of its own. So stay tuned for the next video on conditional statements in Python. Thank you very much and see you in our next video.